It started with an alarm that never went off. The janitor noticed it first. A locker down in the old basement hallway left slightly ajar. Security checked the footage. What they saw made no sense. Before we begin this powerful tale of silence and sacrifice, tell me in the comments what was your first dog's name and breed. You can help stories like this be heard, remembered, and shared. If this one touches your heart, like the video, and don't forget to follow for more true feeling stories of healing, loyalty, and quiet courage. Sometimes, the strongest voices are the ones that never speak, and sometimes, they bark. At 2:46 a.m., a German Shepherd pushed open the rear cafeteria door, crossed the empty gym, and headed down into the basement. He stopped in front of locker 319, sat for exactly 2 minutes, and left the way he came. No barking, no hesitation, just purpose. At school, kids started whispering, "Ghost dog," "Demon guard," "Hall monitor from hell." But Nora, she didn't laugh, because locker 319 used to belong to her best friend Grace, the one who vanished last October. Grace had stayed late for theater practice, texted Nora a meme, and then, nothing. No witnesses, no forced entry, no evidence, just her bag left behind and a missing girl. The school never locked down. No one was arrested. They said maybe she ran away. But Nora knew Grace. She didn't run. Nora stopped by the principal's office the next morning. "Is it true," she asked, "about the dog?" Mr. Henley looked up from his paperwork. "We're handling it, probably just a stray. In a school basement," he sighed. "There's no need for rumors. Focus on class." She couldn't. That night Nora stayed up, watching the live feed camera hack her friend Dylan had coded last year. At 2:45 a.m., motion blipped on screen, and there he was. Same dog, same hallway, same locker. But this time, he didn't sit. He scratched 3 times, then trotted out of frame. The next day Nora skipped lunch and went to the basement. It hadn't changed. Old pipes clanged in the walls. Fluorescent lights flickered like they hated being alive. Locker 319 stood at the far end, sealed with a heavy chain and a school-issued lock. No name tag, no stickers, just dust. She placed her palm on it, cold. When she turned to leave, she saw something strange. Paw prints, faint, muddy, leading into the hallway, but not out. She waited again the next night. This time, outside. She tucked herself behind the dumpster near the rear cafeteria entrance, hood up, flashlight off. It was cold. At 2:44 a.m., she heard footsteps. No, not footsteps. Pause. And breathing. Low, steady. Then he appeared. Black and gray fur, scar over one eye, worn leather collar with no tag. The dog froze when he saw her. Nora whispered, "You're not here by accident, are you?" He didn't bark, didn't run. He just stared, then turned, walked up to the door, and looked back. She followed. The door creaked open, unlocked. He trotted through the gym, past the auditorium, down the stairs and into the basement. He stopped at locker 319, waited, then turned to her, and pawed once at the locker door. Nora's voice shook. "Why here?" He sat again, didn't move, didn't leave, just waited. Nora crouched and pulled out her phone, took a photo of the locker, the paw print, the dog. "Who are you?" she whispered. The lights flickered. The dog growled, not at her, but at the wall behind the locker. A low warning sound, then silence. He stood and walked away. No drama, no fear, like the night had more places to be. Nora stayed and looked closer. There beneath the locker's base, something shiny, just visible in the seam. She reached under, pulled out a tiny object, a necklace, Grace's necklace, a silver G-charm, and dried brown flecks that made her stomach twist. Nora didn't sleep that night. She didn't cry, either, because now she had proof. Grace had been there, and the dog. He knew something no one else did. The next day Nora skipped school. She couldn't pretend anymore. Not after the necklace, not after the dog. She waited until midnight, slipped on her hoodie, packed a flashlight, gloves, and the folded photo of Grace from her nightstand. Then she headed back to the school. The cafeteria door was locked this time, but she knew another way. The art room window had a broken latch. She and Grace used it all the time to sneak out during lunch. Nora slipped through, silent as the shadows, and just like before, he was waiting. The German shepherd stood at the top of the stairs, tail low, eyes watching her every step. This time, Nora spoke aloud. "I know you're not just a dog." He tilted his head. She followed him down. Locker 319 looked the same, but this time, she was ready. She reached into her pocket. Dylan's bolt cutters. Not exactly legal, but not exactly hard to get from a brother who worked construction. She snapped the chain in two. The door creaked open. Dust swirled in the beam of her flashlight. Empty, except for one thing. A crumpled paper taped to the inside of the door. A map, drawn in blue pen, rough lines, arrows, the basement hallway, and an X beneath a vent cover. The dog barked, soft and sharp. Nora turned. He was already standing beside the vent. She dropped to her knees, unscrewed the rusted bolts, and pulled. A narrow tunnel opened behind it, lined with brick and dirt, smelling of mold and wet stone. She hesitated, then crawled in. The dog followed. The tunnel twisted beneath the school, like a vein no one knew existed. 10 minutes passed, then 20, and finally, a wooden door. Old, splintered, sealed with rotting tape. Nora pushed. It opened into a concrete room, lit only by slivers of moonlight through cracks above, and what she saw made her knees buckle. Dozens of items, backpacks, notebooks, hair ties, keychains, each tagged with a name, each one filed like evidence in a case that never existed. In the corner, a sleeping bag, empty food cans, dried mud and paw prints everywhere. Someone had been living here, or hiding here, or both. She turned to the dog. "Did you bring her here?" He didn't move, but his tail twitched. Nora searched every corner. Under the bedroll, she found it, a voice recorder, battery dead, but memory card intact. She pocketed it. Then another sound echoed through the tunnel. Footsteps, not paws. Boots. Nora turned off her flashlight and held her breath. The dog stepped in front of her, growling low. Shadows moved past the tunnel's edge. A man's voice. "Check it again." She might have seen the cameras. Another voice. "She's just a kid." The first voice snapped. "She's that kid. Grace's friend. If she finds what we missed." The voices faded. Nora's heart pounded. Someone had been watching the cameras. And someone knew she was getting close. She had to leave. She and the dog slipped out, retraced the tunnel, and climbed back into the night air. Her fingers were shaking, but not from fear, from fury. Someone in that school had lied, had covered it up. And the dog, he'd been trying to tell her the whole time. The next morning, Nora met Dylan at his garage. They powered up the recorder. The first half was static. "Then if anyone finds this, I'm Grace Avery. I'm alive. Or I was. I don't know if they'll come back. But the dog, he's been feeding me, watching me. I think he used to be trained. He brought me my necklace. They said I knew too much. But I didn't. I just saw something in the basement, behind the locker. Please tell Nora. She'll believe me." The rest was garbled, but it was enough. Nora took the recorder, the photo, the necklace, and her fear, and went straight to the police. The detective didn't believe her at first. Another teen, with a wild story, a dog, a secret tunnel, a map in a locker. But when Nora placed the recorder on the desk, and hit play, everything changed. 2 arrests followed within a week. A janitor and a substitute security guard. both with pasts erased too cleanly, both working late the night. Grace vanished. Inside their homes, police found evidence matching the bunker stash, student IDs, fragments of old school uniforms, and a USB drive containing deleted camera footage from the day Grace disappeared. The pieces fit now, too late to undo the horror, but not too late for justice. And still, no Grace. The tunnel was excavated, the bunker cleaned, and Nora returned every night, waiting for the dog to come back. But he didn't, until the third Friday. It was raining, cold. Nora stood alone on the school steps. Then she saw him, Juno, scar-eyed, silent, soaked to the bone. He didn't bark, didn't run, just looked at her, and then turned. This time, he didn't go into the basement. He led her behind the school, through the woods, across the old service trail, to a rusted door half buried in vines. Juno scratched once, then stepped back. Nora opened it. The air was stale, and inside, curled in a blanket on a mattress of bundled clothes, was Grace, alive, thin, pale, eyes wide with shock and tears. Nora. They ran into each other's arms. Juno stepped in and sat beside them, tail thumping once against the floor. Grace whispered, "He found me again." In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Grace began therapy, moved in with Nora's family. The school issued a public apology. The town, once quiet in the face of tragedy, erupted with anger, and then action. The basement was sealed, the tunnel filled, but locker 319, it stayed empty, its door left open. A memorial plaque bolted above, to the kids who were forgotten, to the dog who never did. Juno was adopted by Nora and Grace together. No more late-night searches, no more basement shadows, just home, love, and a soft patch of sun near the window, where he napped with his paw on Grace's old necklace. Every year, on the day Grace was found, Nora returns to locker 319. She leaves a single item, not a rose, not a photo, a key, to remind herself that sometimes the right door opens from the inside.